Greetings, fellow army of darkness. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Death of the Isle, Episode 2, Yearning for Manflesh. So we're probably going to want to research rustic storage in order to store more foods in our kitchen. So I'll queue that up next, as you guys wanted me to get a kitchen going. So the current priority now that I have cultivation is build a kitchen. So with cultivation, what level is Crimson? 11? Okay. With cultivation, let's go start to make the miniseries bushes, or to sow them. Let's do a clean 100 of them. And then, once he levels up one more, we can start to do the parasite thorn bushes. And then if I need to, what I could do is I could either cut down a whole bunch of trees, or sow like heel root or something like that, for extra skill if it's needed. Oh, we don't even know how to make stone floors yet, either. I'll just keep cutting those until we can make the floors. The work speed of these stone cutting spots suck, because we don't actually formally have stone cut known. So that's another good one to queue up as well. But I will say, these minions are keeping us very well supplied with stones. Alright, I am getting low food warnings. But I want to get the Pomanicerium and the Parasite Thorn bushes up. The grow seasons are not year-round, so the sooner the better. Tal, would you want to make yourself a bow? Because Crimson's going to be using the other bow. Once the plant work is done, I'll have him switch back to ranged weapon. So getting a second bow would be nice. Oh, it's a better bow than... So you equip the basic one. Alright, what to build next? There you go. We have bedrooms, storage, defenses, dining and recreation, or viewer suggestions. You guys pick. Is the only way to recharge a character's mana through potions? No, they have natural regen here. So right now, oh, a Lindworm wandered in. I don't know if we're up to the task of killing a Lindworm at the moment. So yeah, mages will have natural regen based upon their equipment, what spells they're upkeeping, if they're boosted by Mana Surge or Serum Boost or Mana Gain, talents. Because there's mana gain talents as well. So there's a bunch of different ways to get extra mana. Plus you can store mana in mana storage facilities. So there's a arcane capacitor where if you have excess mana, you can put it in the arcane capacitor or dimensional mana pocket, and then withdraw it when you need it. There's a bunch of different ways to store and refill mana, not just drinking potions. All right, before we start eating raw food, I'm going to adjust some of the food here so that we don't get absolutely sad as a result of eating a bunch of, like, raw meats. So this is no raw food. And then all of the other food restrictions I don't really care for at the moment. So I'll get rid of them and make them as needed. Same with our drug policies. I'll work out a reasonable... I'll do a no drug policy for now, and work out a reasonable drug policy once we actually have drugs. Things that aren't needed to be resolved now. So we have 39 of the 100 Pomaniceriums planted. Are you 12? Oh, and you're 12. Okay, so what I'm going to do is stop sowing the Pomanicerium and start sowing Parasite Thornbush. So Parasite Thornbush allows you to grow things that can be harvested for Magicite with a catch. The catch is once you exceed about 50, you end up in a situation where your casters will not regain mana as quickly, so you have to limit how much Parasite Thornbush you actually sow. So I usually sow about 49 of it, keeping it one shy of the soft cap. And that can be changed in the mod options, if you're wondering. There's the Parasite soft cap right here. Because I don't really want my mana to get sucked away by a plant. We'll make sure not to do that. It do take a while to sow. Also might not be a terrible idea to home zone around the farm, just so that there's any fires, we sort of fight them automatically. And because I'm not really doing the cleaning myself, because I have minions, I don't really care about that. In fact, I can even have hull and clean as a priority 4. As it's not something that we're going to typically do. So, food storage. Back to food storage. We are going to want... let's see. What are we going to grow? So we have a lot of vegetables coming out. And then... I could also just store it in large barrels. That's not a entirely... bad idea, or empty shelves. So I think what I'll do is I'll put the meals on an empty shelf here. And then the raw ingredients that I use the most often in barrels. So this will be a barrel for rice. And make this important. And I'm not going to do the other barrels yet. I'll just keep them empty. But probably, like, the reagents for the reagents for mana potions and maybe mana potions themselves, so on and so forth. We'll figure that out. Only 2 of these barrels are being used at the moment. But smoke leaf, psychoid, etc. that will all be put up there. Alright, next up will be defenses once the kitchen's done. So I'm researching stone cutting so that we can actually put stone floors in there and get a stone cutting table, which will be useful. And then once we have enough to start to fill up those barrels, I can have like deeper storage, larger shelves and the like around. It's not something we need initially. So if you're wondering about the minions, you can have up to 4 minions, and when you cast them and you have 4, it dismisses the oldest automatically. Alright, I think it's time to start cooking. So this one will be also meat. And then I'm going to cook simple meals until we have, let's say, 4. So we have rice and meat stored here. And then Crimson. You haven't planted a lot of the parasite thorn bush, but I'm going to need you to go hunting. So let's hunt some donkeys. And this will also level him up very quickly using a lot of Arrow Storm to hunt. So I added the building defenses as well. I'm going to wait for building defenses for when stone cutting is done, because then we can get castle walls and castle wall embrasures. What defensive walls should we use? Castle or orc? Now this outpost is eventually going to be run by a lich, who is yet to be obviously recruited. But orc walls, I'll show you what they look like. They look like this. So like granite orc walls are very tough. They are hit point of 730. They're just ugly. And then once we research stone cutting, I can show you castle walls. But either way, it works for me. Oh, we're being attacked. Ain't that quaint. Look at you in your like very fancy armor. Oh, wow. Very fancy armor. Hopefully I can down you and not kill you so that we can strip you full of gear. Can't it be the combination of the two? It could, but that's not a choice because I don't want it. Oh, I think it's killing... Yeah, it just killed one of my minions. Rude. You're gonna die a horrible death. Being in there. Salt. Shield, you can take this one off. Oops, hit the boomlope. That's awkward. Oh, we can strip you. Get stripped, idiot. Alright, you want target practice, Crimson? So this is a regular onyx ring But it does give beauty and social impact, so yes please. And then we'll also take the Wanderer's Cloak off him too. And then Shield, I do believe there's some gear for you. So the Sapphire Necklace is also beauty and social impact. And I hope we like elf meat, because elf meat seems to be back on the menu. So down here, let's haul human likes, but not stranger or slave or colonist corpse, or stranger fine, but not slave or colonist corpses. And yeah, we'll get them. Waste not, want not. So it looks to me like you guys want castle walls. Got it. Research is almost done. So what to research next? And I'm just going to curate a few choices. We could do clothing. And textiles. Starting to sew things like flax. I already have cotton. We could do bows. Or orc gear. So one for Crimson, one for Shield. Or magic. Or other viewer suggestions. You guys can pick that. And I'm going to start working on the castle walls and just a wee bit of research. Well, Shield, you look kind of funny in that gear. I hope to get you some elvish gear and like a proper weapon. Although you can use that saber. I'm sure that saber is like 2 or 3 times the DPS of your little iron knife. 2 times the DPS of your little iron knife. Although some of it is... oh, yeah. Sapphire stuff is tattered. Well, Tal, we'll see if it really pisses him off. We can always change. For now, I think what I'll do is I'm going to put the kitchen table down here. Just so that there's less walk distance until we have proper recreation facilities. I don't want them to have to pace constantly. I hope you like elf flesh. Okay, research is done. So, with proper stone cutting, I will keep these 2 for now just for the bills. Let's go over to stonecutter table made of iron. Why? No, I'll do wood. Actually, I don't have enough bone. That's unfortunate. I feel like, let's have enough bone. Hey, Crimson, can you get us some bone? But before we even do that, let's get floors made of granite in our lovely kitchen here. And I'll also smooth out the bottoms for construction skill for Shield. Now, Shield, is some of your gear... Yeah, this is global work speed inefficiency, so we'll have you ditch the gauntlets for now. I can always put them on. Everything else doesn't really matter, but the gauntlets do slow you down. You guys want, let's call this one early. You want something magic next. So, because we're working on mana potions, I'm going to do Magicite Refining, which unlocks mana potions. No, see, I didn't want you to put those on. No, take them off. Thank you. Shield is in disguise. Oh, that's a good point. It was a tactic that that has been used against evil, so might as well take one out of their playbook, use it against them. Sounds pretty reasonable to me. We need a little bit more bone, Mr. Crimson. Keep killing them donkeys until we have the bone to make a bone table. He's probably enjoying the killing more than anything else. Crimson, of course, is bloodlust, so killing things is making him happy. And I like happy goblins. Get it. So once the kitchen's done, it's technically a storeroom. That's funny. Once the kitchen's done, I'll start work on the outer walls, and it's going to be first iteration of walls. So the plan here, let's see. Where's the terrain affordance? So there's no terrain affordance issues for most of the bottlenecks. Got it. I don't think that this rich soil I'm going to care all that much about. So my plan is just to have a wall there. Keep it simple. Keep it close to the base. I'm going to want some sort of wall. So what I want to do is I want to drive the enemies around the water for pathing reasons. So I think how I want to design it is to force north to traverse this shallow water along the beachhead to attack here, and the same to go for the south. Eventually, designing it so that I can have embrasures here, shooting out from the deep water, where enemies have to come into the base this way. Something like, excuse my crude mapping, but something like this, where the path into the base is through this mountain, and then I have my own defenses out to this shooting area where there's doors in either section, so I can force the enemies coming from the south to use the north door, traversing around this deep water and dying. And the inverse would be true. So that's the eventual goal, but that's way out of scope for the initial. So I'll leave some of those plans in just so that you can see them. So initially what I want to do is I just want to control access. I want to wall off certain sections to flush enemies to more vulnerable spots of the map. So in this case, probably opting for a rather large wall here, and then mining out a section to drive them to the beach. And then likewise over here, a wall, something like this, and or even like that. I'll just have to go straight across. Keep it simple. A wall like that. So coming from the south, they have to enter here, and coming from the north, they have to enter here, giving me a max amount of time. That'll also help with manhunters, because if I then just have a very simple wall to close this off with doors, if there's like a ton of manhunting animals, big deal. They can't really harm us. And we're starting to get some lovely rice. So let's change the bills. I'm sort of curious if I'm going to be able to afford lavish, but I'm not going to make lavish initially. I'll change the bills for fine. And for meat, we can allow elf meat, half elf meat, human meat, not insect, still gross. As far as insects go, the regular RimWorld hives don't exist, but Medieval Overhaul mod has its own version of insects, which do exist. just to make that clear. Do we have enough bone now? We do. Terrific. I'm going to take... I'm going to change this meal plan now for perishable meals, taking off dried meat. Because what it could do, smoked meat, I don't actually know how long smoked meat lasts, but taking out smoked meat and dried meat because it lasts longer. And then it wouldn't be a terrible idea for me to get meat racks. So maybe what I'll do is put a door there out to meat racks. So that I can dry and maybe eventually a smoker, dry and smoke meat so that it doesn't spoil. Oh, there was a direwolf here. Wouldn't mind taming a few of them eventually. Oh, we never moved our table. Oh, I must have destroyed the table. Big dirt. Get our table back. And at this point, we could probably afford getting a cup and dice for a little bit of extra recreation. That should help to reduce the amount of spoil that we have. I may also need to make more tanning liquors. So we have a bunch of donkey hides. So I'm going to make 10 liquors from wood until I have like 100 of it as part of his bill. Oops. Oh, I didn't have a line of sight. That's funny, I didn't have a line of sight, so I casted it anyway. So the other thing that would be nice to have in the kitchen would be wood storage. A pile of raw wood. As we cook with raw wood as a fuel. And then once we have like a supply of coal, putting a barrel of coal in there as well. Instead, rather. But this will also help with the tanning liquors too. And then when we make the tanning liquors, just drop them. We have, we've got little minion haulers. We don't really need to do the hauling ourselves. So shield's almost done with that kitchen. Oh, we have more Mordor orcs coming to visit. What about the other magic crop field? It's being sown. Crimson's still working on it. Okay, that is done. That is a proper kitchen and butchery. So we'll start with the castle walls. What material to use on castle walls? So there's a few different options here. I could go granite or slate. So granite would be tougher. Slate might look more fitting, more suiting. So I'll have you choose between those two. I don't really care. I think we can still have the aesthetic of a necromancer castle, even if we go granite. They're both dark stones. Did we just fuel this with timber? That's dumb. Don't do that. Do I not need heal root? I did start with some heal root. The ingredients for the mana potions are more important to me, and also magicite, than heal root. Embrasures are arrow slits, yes. They allow shooting to go through the walls, but not people to go through the walls. Now that we have this bone stonecutter table, I can also start to cut stone. I'm going to need to increase the ingredient radius to include the slate, though. And yeah, drop when done. Alright, I'm going to resolve... Well, no, it's pretty close. I won't resolve it just yet. Thomas Ross, cheers! Spraxis and Delara, thank you for the subs as well. And Freddy 8 Toes. Oh, I uninstalled the wooden table. Got it. I was like, where did that end up going? Because I hit the wrong button. Crimson Russ, thanks for all the gifted subs, too. May you live a very productive life, slaying elves and humans. Alright, Team Granite won out, so we're going to do Granite. So I think the way I want to design this is over here, I'm going to have it mostly be castle walls with some embrasures. So I'm going to do... Let's see. At every one, I'm going to want like a slab door. And a slab door with castle walls on either side. With maybe embrasures like this. Or a little bit of line of sight shooting. And then walls like that. That way, if we want to shoot out, like at Manhunters, we can shoot out. If they're at our front gate, we have a line of sight to it. It would make more sense, however, if it was more inset. Like that. Well, not like that. Like this. So that meleeers have to stack up one at a time. Something like that. So there's the north gate, and I'll replicate more or less this pattern down below. There's two of them. What I build here and there will be a little bit different because they are much larger. Thomas Ross, thanks for the gifted subs too. Whoa, shield is hopping around there. And then once combat command comes off cooldown in 2 days, I'll give it to shield again. So the parasite's 35 out of 49. And one thing to note, if you look here at mana regen, the parasitic drain is when you exceed the amount of total parasite that you can have farmed. The parasitic drain is an indicator that the plants are sapping your mana. Winnie, thank you for the bits too. So these are very, very, very tough walls. I don't think typical enemies are going to be able to get through those easily. And I'll work on those first, and then I'll start the somewhat lengthier process of making the long walls. I may also pull Tal. I'll probably keep Tal on research for now, but it might be necessary to pull him off research just to help with the granite production. So speaking of which, the walls are made of granite, so I'm going to switch over to granite blocks, which we don't have many. So let's go ahead and have a dedicated storage for granite here. Granite chunks, make them preferred, and then have the minions start grabbing all the granite chunks from out here and bring them to our stone cutter. Okay, Crimson is officially a ranger. There we go. So that is move speed, immunity gain speed, comfortable temperatures, aiming time, tox resist, butchery speed, smelting speed, construction speed, animal tame and train, and shooting accuracy. Highly skilled, dangerous archer. The southwestern gate is getting close to being done. Parasite's been sown. So at 49 Parasite, we should see Paradisic Drain is minus 0.001. It starts to ramp up. The more I add, the more it would drain. So at that level, it's not really ruining my mana generation, but it would if I planted more of it. And Magnificent Refining is done. So what is next is up to you. I'm going to queue up Arcane Facilities, which is sort of just a placeholder to unlock other magic research. But you guys can pick. I'm managing to make quite a lot of leather here, which will be useful for when we have need of quivers and the like. I don't yet have clothing and textiles, but one of the advantages of going clothing and textiles, getting textile spinning, and then complex clothing is we'll be able to have things like quivers and stuff like that once we get tailoring. So quivers increase shoot speed and some other armory clothing here that won't slow us down, but will protect us. Not to say that you have to do it, but like boots for move speed or gloves for work speed and shooting accuracy. It's one of the reasons I've been making all that leather. What does the parasite plant give you? So the parasite plant is, what it does is it absorbs mana from the atmosphere, and once harvested, produces magicite. Magicite is like magic ore, in other words. So it's a stone that seems to wrap itself in dull, glassy surface, and it's essentially the base crafting material for most magical things in RimWorld of Magic mod. So if we take a look at the magic stuff, like if I want to make an arcane hood is going to cost a whole lot of magicite, or a gem of arcane insight, or really any of it. It's all magicite requiring. So Parasite Thornbush is one of the ways to get a lot of magicite. Another is to just strip mine, because you have a chance to get it from natural stone. Another is to infuse it on an arcane forge. So an arcane forge allows a mage to change stone chunks into magicite at a cost of their own mana pool, which is a really rapid way of getting it. provided that you have a lot of mana to spend. Alright, Shield now has Body Training 3. So that's moving, manipulation, breathing, blood pumping, and blood filtration up. Blade Dancer 4, and the stats are there. The southern gate is just about done. So the slab door is obviously the weak point of this defense. What if any self-respecting Necromancer castle defenders shouldn't let them break a door anyway. So now we'll start working on the north one, and then I'll lay out plans for the others. So it's a somewhat impressive storeroom once it's done. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Death of the Isle, which originally streamed live on Twitch, January 14th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. Hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Tolfalas.